This is Captain Reese, a pirate legend upon the Sea of Thieves. There's three things that motivate this buccaneer: adventure, gold, and commendations. Whether it be solo aboard the SS Isabella, or with friends on Goldmember, or some other vessel, adventure awaits you salty sea dogs! So come join Captain Reese, First Mate Machiko, crew member Todd, and Navigator Kenobi as they batten down the hatches, raise anchor, lower sail, and begin the hunt upon the Sea of Thieves. This is the Commendation Hunter. Today's adventure sees us begin at Ancient Spire Outpost, the same day as a Rogue's Legacy comes out. Hey Tasha, place looks great. Let me give you a hint. Oh, right. Anywho, today's commendation is called Mystic Devil's Voyager. To get this one, you need to complete 5 Devil's Roar Voyages for the Order of Souls. For me, doing this will also unlock another commendation, Master Devil's Voyager, and the matching title. You get that one for doing 5 Devil's Roar Voyages for the Order of Souls and the Gold Hoarders. I already finished the Gold Hoarders Voyages and already have 1 Order of Souls one done, so I only need 4. Once again I was solo aboard the Bella, so I gathered some supplies and began my sail east to Morrow's Peak Outpost. Today I would be joined by Navigator Kenobi, named after the great Jedi Master himself, Obi-Wan. If I'm being honest, I wish I had done this one when the volcanoes were dormant during the Herald of the Flame adventure, but then again, as we saw, the Roar was full of pirates then. Also, I was only able to play once more after the Herald of the Flame due to my PC temp issues, but yeah. I also wonder how many skeleton ships in the Roar have been meatballed and sunk due to volcanoes. Arriving at Morrow's Peak Outpost, I grabbed my Voyages and was set. My hope was to get 1 chapter Voyages. I've had rotten luck in the past. I decided not to raise an emissary flag today, wanting to keep my profile low in the Devil's Roar. Lucky me today because my first voyage only had 1 parchment with 4 skeletons at Scorched Pass. While sailing north, I passed by some barrels of plenty and something caught my eye. A collector's chest I could use to help move my soon-to-be-acquired skulls. I also snagged the Emerald Mermaid gem because why not? While I was sailing to Scorched Pass, there was a thick shroud upon the seas. Be nice if that signaled the shrouded toast, right? A pirate can dream, and more on Megalodons later. Just as I was getting in range of the island, a volcano erupted in the dense fog, and sadly for poor Isabella, I was within meatball range. After a quick firefight repair bucket job, the ship was set and I could continue on. Good thing about this island is that it itself is outside of the volcano range and it doesn't have one itself. 2 of our targets were already active when I arrived, and I used the environment of the Devil's Roar to my advantage. Only 1 more target spawned for now. After defeating all the other skeletons, I tried to use this captain as target practice for hitting my shots on a moving target while I'm moving. Three-fourths of the way done, that means I only had 1 left. Passing by a skeleton carrying a keg, I feel it would come in handy. After relieving him of it and seeing my final target in the Golden Girl spawn, I made my play. While it got the Golden Girls, Captain Cross still remained and I was forced to lead them into the water. After defeating my final skeleton, I was blessed to learn that the first voyage was done! A 1-chapter, 1-parter. Hell yeah! However, the island was still in the shroud of the fog, so I decided to bring the chest ashore and get the skulls that way. 1 more trip for the final one, and it was time for another voyage. Quest on the table, and it was a single parchment. The only negative is that at Fetcher's Rest, there is a volcano. Well, it's just 1 skeleton. I could easily defeat them and then quickly make my way back to the SS Isabella and be gone before any eruption. Arriving at Fetcher's Rest, I set the ship and jumped ashore. While finding a chest I wasn't interested in, my fears began to come true. The island was shaking. An eruption was coming. I found the skeletons in a cave and began my work. The second wave saw the Golden Girls return, so I had to lead them to water. But while the third wave was spawning, I saw the black smoke and I knew I had to get Isabella to safety. Before I made it back though, the mountains spoke. Moving as quickly as the shaking would let me, I sword dashed across the boiling water to my vessel and lowered the sail. Unlike last time, I was able to get my ship to a safe range so Navigator Kenobi and I could wait it out. Eventually, the eruption ended and I could continue safely. Returning to Fetcher's Rest, I found myself needing to use light to finish off the next wave. But after that, I had some trouble finding the next wave. That is until I realized the Golden Girls had spawned on the opposite side of the cave outside. After dealing the final blow, I found Captain the Wild Grover and once again the Golden Girls. Wanting to be done with this, I led them into the water and then just defeated the captain, took their skull, and ran away to find I had another chapter to do. Another one chapter with a single boss. However, as this said chapter 2, it was not the final one. I would have to head to the Flintlock Peninsula. While swimming back to my ship, I saw something. My telescope confirmed it was 2 sloops, likely enjoying Season 8. There wasn't a Reaper emissary on the map, so it was likely an Athena emissary. While making my way to the Flintlock Peninsula, look what I saw! A skeleton galleon within meatball range of a volcano! Remember how I mentioned that earlier? While I didn't see any direct hits, there were some close-looking shots, but ultimately, nothing happened. After arriving and going in a circle around the entire island, I found the skeletons and the seismic activity really helped me out. The captain finally spawned in and Captain Reese made sure to put an end to him once and for all. The message finally popped up and I was on my final chapter, yet another one-parter. And Magma's Tide doesn't have a volcano, so the completion was within reach. However, since I was going past Morrow's Peak on the side of the Sovereigns, I figured why not offload what I had there, so that's exactly what I did. Heading towards Magma's Tide, I had a surprise visitor. A wild Shadow Maw appeared! Besides the Shrouded Toast, this is the variety of Megalodon I have defeated the least, only 7 in total. Seeing as I wasn't in volcano range and didn't see anyone else around, I figured why not and gave the mighty fish a fight. The final blow came directly under my ship, but it was another victory for Captain Reese. The Meg meat was also something I needed to sell and cook, so stick around, Hunter's Call fans. Getting the loot aboard, I headed on to complete my voyage. Arriving, the skeletons were easy to find, and Captain Hellbound Ellis stood no chance. Getting the skull aboard, I looked at the time and realized I had work soon and wouldn't be able to complete this today. So I went back to Morrow's Peak and sold what I had gained from the Shadow Maw. For my final act of the day, I sailed over to Roaring Traders. You can see cooking-wise that I finished cooking chicken, pork, snake, and shark. Only Meg meat and Kraken meat remain as far as stuff I have to cook. But I wasn't done just yet. Right past the trading post was a shipwreck. While I didn't have any loot worth going back to Morrow's Peak for, I at least found an ashen devilfish, a charcoal pondy, and a rose wrecker. And being right at the trading post, I set Isabella out of volcano range and launched myself over to sell the 3 fish. Before I get to what happened the next day, please enjoy this firework intermission. The next day I spawned back into Ancient Spire Outpost. No difference here, supplied up and was off. My first quest was once again a one-parter, and that scorched past for my first one too, just like yesterday. Once on shore, I found a crate of fine ore. I decided to take it because why not? Also like yesterday, I used the nature of the Devil's Roar to help speed up the process. After Captain Great Horde Clifford and his planty brethren spawned, I ran to the top of the island where I found some firebombs being stored. Firebombs, plant boys. Continuing on from copying yesterday, this one was also a one skeleton quest, and only one quest to go. What could go wrong? Well, let me tell you. As I went to harpoon my loot, I noticed I was actually in range of the volcano nearby. However, no damage to report. Voting the next voyage, it was only a one-parter. To start, a trio of skeletons on the Devil's a Thirsty Hoe. Kenobi and I had to wait out the volcano so we could sail by. While sailing by Flame's End, I saw some skeletons. Put a pin in that for now. Lucky for me, the volcano on the island returned to its non-erupting state when I arrived. I set foot ashore at the same spot we started the Herald of the Flame at and found a Disney stick just down the shoreline. And even a little further down, there was some better food in a storage crate. This was about to get a whole lot easier. I finally found the skellies and utilized a keg one was holding. Then I found a collector's chest. This was going too well. All three captains spawned together among some geysers. My Disney stick was the difference maker. While looking for the collector's chest, I got another commendation. Grade 3 on the Hunter of Cursed Cruise. Nice! Only 145 left until grade 5. Then I found out I was on the second chapter of my voyage, meaning this wasn't the last one or else it would have said final chapter. Only 2 parchments, but 7 skeletons between them, and both islands have volcanoes. Fun! Before I hit up those islands, I made a pit stop at Morrow's Peak to make a wee bit of gold. I kept the collector's chest, Pirate Lord knows I was gonna need it. Of the 2 islands, I decided to hit up the Flintlock Peninsula first and go after the 4. One boss was already active and was easy to defeat. Now it may have just been me, but once I found more skeletons, I found out the ghost pistol was being wildly inaccurate trying to detonate this keg. Whatever the case was, my next target spawned as a golden girl. Taking their skull, I was halfway done with that island. Didn't miss the keg that time. Or this time when the final 2 targets spawned, one holding the aforementioned keg. Bada bing bada boom. With the skulls aboard, it was off to Fetcher's Rest. Arriving, I sword dashed onto the island, and goodness, there was an ass ton of loot all over the place. A storage crate, another collector's chest, a coral message in the bottle, an ashen trinket, a mermaid gem, and even a crate of rum. But if you guys remember what happened yesterday on Fetcher's Rest, today would be no different. Just as I began to hear the Order of Souls music, the mountain awoke. Moving as fast as I could, I found some skeletons and tried to lead them into the geysers. Even though I got one, I saw the black smoke and knew I had wasted precious time. Before I made it back to the Bella, the mountain spoke. Barely surviving the boiling water, I lowered sails and got the hell out of Dodge. Once safely out of range, it was more waiting time for me and Navigator Kenobi. When it finally stopped, I set Bella on the far side of the island. The skeletons were easy to find now that I knew where they were. Adding a mermaid gem to my little beachside collection, I managed to secure a keg. However, I wasn't prepared to deal with the ghost pistol anymore, so I did it the old-fashioned way. My final 2 targets were among the Golden Girls, but I didn't want to deal with all of them, so I just defeated my targets and moved on. As I was moving the skulls, I saw 2 words I really didn't want to see. Chapter 3, really making me work for it. Another 2-parter saw me go to Flame's End for 4, and one at the island I was currently on, Fetcher's Rest. How about that? Took me forever, but I finally found them near the top of a hill. The target spawned as a golden girl. After a keg hit, I was trying to get them to walk over a geyser, but they just wouldn't follow me and just kept shooting me. At this point, this was taking longer than I had liked. My landlord was texting me about having to do stuff in my apartment, and I was once again closing in on work, and I wouldn't be able to go grocery shopping till tomorrow, and To push my buttons even more, the island was having seismic activity again. I was prepared to say screw it, sell what I have, and try again tomorrow for another one-parter. However, after I was already heading back to my ship, a geyser finally got them! And then me when I turned around for the skull. Beyond done at this point. Screw the skull, screw the collector's chest full of skulls on the beach next to a mermaid gem, I was so over it. Of course, the island didn't end up erupting, but at that point, I had already let my emotions steer the ship. Literally. While I was in the open ocean, a wild ancient terror appeared! Welp, why not? I fought the Shadow Maw yesterday, might as well make it 2 in 2 days. Plus, it would help me get some anchor out on this demon fish. And wouldn't you know it, that was my 10th Ancient Terror defeated since becoming Pirate Legend, and that was good for a Grade 3 Commendation, Legendary Hunter of the Ancient Terror. Only 40 more to go for Grade 5. Once I got all my loot aboard, I continued on. Remember when I saw skeletons on Flame's End before I got this quest? Did Rare know about that and have them there already? Questions for later. Anywho, this island was quite small, volcano-less, and it was pretty easy for me to defeat the waves and claim my 4 skulls. Just as I got back to my ship, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, the final chapter. This was it, my friends. 2 more parchments to go. Return to the Devil's a Thirsty Hoe for 3, and then a return to the Flintlock Peninsula for 3 as well. I went to the Devil's a Thirsty Hoe first, since it was closer to my location at the time. I found another collector's chest, and lucky for me, the skeletons were near the same area as before, which meant my Disney stick I had left there was too. That made it all too easy to defeat 2 of my golden targets, and I was almost done with the quest. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The last guy wasn't hard to find, and he was no match for Captain Reese, Disney stick or not. Before I went back to the Flintlock Peninsula for my final showdown, I made an executive decision to sell what I had at Morrow's Peak, keeping a collector's chest, of course. Arriving, my luck had finally turned around a little as skeletons were right where I landed. By this point, I had switched back to the normal pistol skin I use, Ebon Flintlock pistol. No Disney sticks or kegs here, I took care of business personally. With Captain Rowdy Roddick down, I got my grand prize. Master Devil's Voyager and Mystic Devil's Voyager. Fuck yes, my friends. I went back for a stool, harpooned everything, including a randomly friendly placed ashen captain's chest, and made my way back to Morrow's Peak for some more gold. However, my friends, I had one last stop to make. I got 6 pieces of meg meat from the Ancient Terror, and I planned on turning it in. As I got closer, I saw a galleon in the distance. I figured I'd be done by the time they got close. However, when I looked over, I saw this. If that wasn't odd enough, the Hunter's Call representative wouldn't accept my cooked meat. Not sure if them going through the sky like that and me not being able to sell my cooked mega meat to the Hunter's Call person were linked to a bug on the server, but whatever. The other dialogue option worked, so I'm not sure why I couldn't sell.
About the time when...
Anywho, the nearby volcano went off, and that was my sign that my session was done. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a lot. Share the video with your friends. My temps are still an issue, but there's still a few more things I can try, but at least I can use Chrome and sometimes game. Thank you all again for your patience and support, but until next time, my friends, this is the Commendation Hunter, signing off.